but it's not. Okay, let me with hope. All right, we are live for the last session of today. Welcome everybody again. Welcome back. We will be reading the speaker's bio in just 1 second so that we can get her on stream, right? So take back your seats and make sure you're inviting everybody. Share the link. Share. Let everybody in your circle know that something amazing it's happening, right? So let's get it. We can hit the ground running. Please make sure you're sharing this. Make sure you are sharing this video everywhere. Can anyone hear me? If you join me, Uchechi Chukwuma Ohanele, a PhD holder in guidance and counseling, is a seasoned educator and founder of Life Essential Talk. As a radio presenter and content creator, she focuses on key topics like effective parenting, marriage, family dynamics, and essential life skills. Dr. Hanele's dedication to guiding families through insightful discussion has established her as a trusted authority in parenting education and support. Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome Dr. Uchechi Chukwuma. While we wait for Dr. part of this conversation, right? Get everyone you know to be part of this conversation. Don't be here alone. Don't learn alone. Let everybody know that something is going on here and it is something that will bless families, bless the world, because we are trying to understand what we need to do. Thank you everybody who joins me. Thank you and welcome back to day 2, the Proactive Parents Conference, where we are speaking to the team. Be more, be more. How can we be more? And then we have 3 acronyms that we are looking at that are the elements of our journey of becoming, which is planting, rooting, and uprooting. Are you here with me? Are you hearing me? If you can hear me, let me see it in the comments that you can hear me loud and clear. Thank you so much. The journey of becoming is a journey of process. That's why we run the program of the Build Your Home Tribe, our annual takeout in the journey of learning, right? It's our annual program. It's our training ground. That's the way we call it. It's our training ground where we train parents on how to parent. That's the simple word. Training parents on how to parent, right? That's what we do in the tribe, and that's how we need to understand journey of becoming is a daily thing. It's a daily journey. It's us, right? There's no that gets you to um, understand the process holistically. So a lot of this, like I always re-echo, does not end in the 6 days conference. It actually begins when it ends. When it ends, that's when we now begin the journey of excavation. That's what it's like. You begin to work a process. You begin to get the training. However, we are booking, um, we are booking for 2025. For the 2024 is already running and we're already in the 80th month. So you're booking your slot to 2025. We are also giving out free booking slots for parents who attend this conference. Come early, join to the end, and you are the number one in any session. Whichever session you come in early, we will be giving you a free booking slot or other gifts available. You make your choice. So let everybody in your circle know this, so that people can be part of the gifts that we, right? So you understand that this program that we're running is actually the training, that we need to have. You cannot, we call it train the trainer. You cannot train another person if you are not trained, right? So the reason why we're doing this and speaking to the team, be more planting, rooting, and uprooting, is that when we get into the training, we begin to know what do we plant, what have been planted in the past, what have been rooted in the past, what are we rooting now, and what do we need to start uprooting now that can jeopardize our journey, that can jeopardize our process, that can sabotage us in the process of raising our children. Because the truth is, every one of us wants to raise a wholesome child. Every one of us wants to raise a responsible child, right? No parent that does not want that for him or herself, right? The problem is, how intentional are you in trying to put this into perspectives in your daily life? Every one of us have the good intention. The problem is whether or not you shall help you. It is in your intention, your good intention, add knowledge. That's how we walk the process and the journey of learning and unlearning and relearning. The last speaker that spoke told us about how we must begin to. Is going to be on the stage already, so that she can take up the stage. Since we have read her bio, has to begin. I think she's having a bit of network issues. Doctor, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
She's having a bit of network issues. In 1 second, please, let's be patient. Doctor is here already.
Yeah.
Can you hear me, doctor?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
She's having a bit of network issues.
Wow.
So like I was saying, the journey that we are in,
Wow.
and the
Can you
hello,
hear me?
doctor.
I can hear you, though it's not very clear. It's not clear. I don't know if you can hear me at all. Can you hear me at all? Hello? Wow.
Hello, Doctor.
I can hear you, but not very clear. Hello? Wow. Hello? Hello?
Can you hear me, Doctor?
I can't hear you. It's okay, I can hear you now, but it keeps on breaking. The
Hello,
network is
Doctor. Can you hear me?
hello.
I mean,
Hello? Hello?
oh my God. You're calling and not
Wow. The network is so bad. I can't make out what you're saying at this time. Wow.
Can our viewers
Wow. I can't hear anything. I can't hear anything. I can't hear anything. I can't.
don't tell me just
I,
attention?
I can't hear anything you're saying. I can't make out your words. Wow. Wow. Hello? Hello, can anyone hear me? Hello? Can anyone hear me? Can anyone hear me? Hello?
And
Okay.
clear.
Okay, you can hear. All right.
When I write the bio, you can go ahead, ma.
All right. So it's so good to be here. It's my pleasure to be here this evening to talk about the implications of social media among teenagers, the implications, sorry, of addiction of social media among teenagers and the role of parents. This topic is very important. It's something that every parent should listen to. The talk about social media cannot be overlooked. It's not something that should be swept under the rug. It's here to stay. Social media is here to stay, and if we do not do the right thing, if we do not use it appropriately, if we do not help our children to use social media appropriately, it could lead to a whole lot of things that could affect them now later in life. So social media is a whole lot. In fact, let me use that word. It's a whole lot. It's something that we should talk about at a daily basis, if possible. So we need to know the implication of the addiction of social media among teenagers, and yes, implication of social media addiction among teenagers and the role of parents as regards to that. So at this point, I will share my screen just to keep you in line with what I have to say. But I was told that my bio has been read, but once again, I am Mrs. Uche Chupuma Ohanele, and your speaker at this time. All right, so let me share. Let me see if I can share my screen with you, if it's possible. Okay, I'm not. I don't think there's. I can't get. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Anybody out there? Wow. Okay, so I wasn't able to do that. I don't think there's any setting to that would allow me to share my screen. All right, so implication of social media. We all know that social media is a form of internet-based communication that billions of people use to create, to share, to display information, ideas, personal messages, and other content such as videos, such as photos, pictures, and so on. And we all know that we have some very popular social media platforms or apps among our preteens, among our teenagers, and they include Facebook, TikTok. We have so many of them on TikTok, Instagram, WhatsApp, Messenger, Snapchat, and so on. We can say that these social media apps and our children are practically intertwined Honestly, you can say that, because right now it's as if our children cannot do without all that. They are always on their phones. Even when you go out with them, they are always on any of these social media platforms. Instead of looking around their environment, trying to understand their environment, no, they're on their social media networking platform, any of them. And you know that they can connect to these social media websites, applications, using their computer, using their phones, their Android phones, or even their tablets. So it's very easy. You give your child laptop to work on his or her schoolwork or classwork. The child will, of course, use it to access information, entertainment, whatever on social media. Use it to play games, which we all know. So that is it. That is a precise definition, or should I say, a precise concept of social media. Now, we all know that social media can be very beneficial. I know I'm talking to parents. We know that social media can be very beneficial, very useful, very, very useful. Our children can use these social media platforms to their benefits. They can gain a whole lot from using these platforms. They can have fun. I mean, have good fun. Fun that will help them with their critical thinking, that will help them with their thinking processes. They can connect with friends, good friends, their former classmates. They can connect with families, with with members of their extended families, maybe an uncle they have not seen for a long time. They can have that access to that uncle or aunt via any of these social media networking platforms. They can share and learn interests. Their interests. During a program I had last time, I told the children that I learned how to tie gele using YouTube via one of these YouTube short videos, short clips. The little I can do with my gele, it was through YouTube that I learned how to even put it together and tie. So it can be useful. They can learn. I hear people learn how to bake, how to sew, how to do embroidery, a lot of things. So social media can be very useful. And this is what we need to do. This is what we need to do to help them. We need to help them understand that social media can be useful. It's not all about friends chatting. You can learn a whole lot via these social media networking platforms. We have a lot to do. Like I always tell my people, your work is not just to provide money. Yes, it's very important, but you have to rear these children into responsible adults. And helping them to understand social media could help you to rear these children into very responsible adults. We have talked about the positives. What about the negatives? This is just a reminder, because I know that you know the negatives of social media. So to get to the implication of social media addiction among teenagers, we need to remind ourselves of the negatives. Because when these children have access to social media without control, they find themselves oversharing personal information, a whole lot of things. On the social media apps, you see them telling people their real names, where they come from, what they're doing at that particular moment, where they will be in a few moments, where they'll be in a few minutes or hours, giving everything about themselves. And that is oversharing. Sorry, please. And that is oversharing. Oversharing information about themselves. This can be very, very, very wrong. Because on social media, we have people of different characters. We have different personalities. We have people with different disorders. Remember, I said billions of people use this media, this social media. So you have people that you cannot control, but you need to help your child to control what he or she does on social media. Now, what about talking to strangers? These children talk to people they don't know. They make them their best friends. Having best friends on social media. These people are people they have never seen. And you know, they feel safe talking to them because they feel, okay, I can tell this person my secret. The person I might never have the opportunity to meet him face to face. I might not have that offline interaction with that person. So they feel free to say whatever they need to say, something they might find difficult to say to their parents or to say to their siblings. They say all that to whoever it is they chat with on social media. This is wrong. So this is, like I said, it's just a reminder. Let us remember all these. Because when you talk about social media, you might say, oh, all right. Is it not for them to chat? And it has a lot of complications. A lot of things, can go wrong on social media. What about sending and receiving inappropriate contents? They send what they're not supposed to send. Sometimes nude pictures of themselves. Nude pictures. And some of these pedophiles on social media who they tend, unfortunately, make friends with unknowingly, could tell them, okay, if you know you love me, send your nude picture. And these children will send, or this child will send his or her nude picture to that person, believing that, oh, I'm in love. Why not? Why can't I do it? Or they can even get excited. They might even, maybe it even excites them because they will send and still expect that person to send his or her own to him or her. So you see them receiving and sending and receiving inappropriate contents. This can be horrible. They might send and think that, okay, it will be deleted immediately, not knowing that once you send that, it can be restored. It can be restored. Now you also have them venturing into inappropriate sites. These porn hubs, these children, some of these children are so conversant with some of these pornographic sites, unknown to you. They have access to these pornographic sites because on the social media platform they find themselves, they can always access whatever they want to access. And you see them getting excited by what they see there. These things have a way of affecting their perception of things, affecting their mental health. It might not be immediate, you might not see it, but their behaviors definitely will tell you that, oh, this child has gone into what he or she should not. That is why we talk about maturity. If you're mature enough, you'll be able to handle some of these things, to know that this is right, this is wrong. But at this stage, our children are, our teenagers most especially. What do they know? In as much as they tell you that they know so much, what do they know? So, parents, you need to be reminded of all this. So a whole lot of things. You see them get into a lot of things. Sometimes when I watch some of these programs on television and I hear things that happen just because of social media, it really disturbs me. Now, let's go to the implications of social media addiction among teenagers. Let's look at the implications of children being addicted to social media. And we know what addiction is. When a child gets that uncontrollable urge to get involved in something, despite the consequences, despite the disruptions, that child is addicted to whatever it is. So now we're talking about social media. When a child, you see a child always on social media, despite the downsides, despite the negatives, despite the effects, the negative impact on him or her, that child is being addicted, or should I say that child, yeah, is being addicted, or that child is addicted to social media. What are the implications? When a child is addicted to social media, that child can go into depression. What is depression? Intense sadness, losing interest in things around you. Now, this is the main focus of my talk today. This is the main focus. All I've been saying before, I did all that to remind you of the positives and downsides of social media. Now we are looking at the implications of that addiction, that uncontrollable urge to use social media despite the consequences. Number one, depression. That child goes into depression. That child becomes sad, very sad. You know, at this stage, these children are still vulnerable. I mean, at that teen age, preteens, teenagers, very vulnerable. No matter how intelligent they may seem to be, smart, clever, whatever you may want to use, that child is still vulnerable. There is something the child won't be able to handle. On social media, there is this pressure to conform to a lot of things. There is this pressure to fit in. There is this pressure to belong. And when they find it difficult to do all that, they go into that sadness, and the sadness will keep on building up until it gets intense and becomes depression. Sometimes when a child is sad, the child will say, you say the child is not depressed yet. Depression is intense, is deep sadness, that everything around you, you lose interest in all things around you. So it can really be bad. They're so susceptible. They want to belong. You see a child doing the wrong things just because he or she wants to fit in. So I can even say it's depression on Facebook, depression on Instagram. When you see what happens on Instagram, why won't your child want to belong? You have a lot of things on social media. And those things are mainly done, or largely, to a large extent, done by youngsters. So they will want to do theirs. Others will want to do theirs. Those that are unable to would want to do theirs. And when they are unable to do theirs, you see them become depressed. I hope someone is hearing me, someone is listening to me. Can I have a message just to indicate that I'm really talking to some people out there? Can I have a message, please? Chat me up. Let me have, just to indicate that some people are out there. All right, so you can see that depression. Now, what about stress? You see this BP we always talk about amongst us, I mean adults. I won't be surprised when a child gets PP. Joking though. But there was a time, because of these video games, some children died, slumped, because in Korea, they got so addicted to video games, sat for long hours, played for long hours without stopping. And that killed some of them. There was a time it was all over social media. Now imagine your child sitting with his or her phone for long hours, pressing, clicking, posting throughout the day. Throughout the day. During the program I had recently, I told them, sometimes just try and stay in front of a mirror, look at your face. Your young, fresh face will be muddled up with wrinkles because you are so intense in what you are doing that you find it difficult to even relax a little bit. It can be very stressful. Instead of taking time to take care of themselves, they rather focus on what other people are doing. It can be stressful. Wow. It can be very stressful. Okay. That's the country we see ourselves in. Lights must go off. All right. So, they get so stressed up, so anxious because they need to get it right. And it can really be very stressful for them. It can be really, really stressful for these children. Now, what about lack of sleep? Nighttime is the only time that our brain can reset. That's the only time we can rest, sleep, rest without worrying. That is if we are like, yes, you just sleep off. Now, if you do not allow yourself to sleep, what becomes of you the next day? Now, not to talk of these children. If you allow them, they will never stop clicking. They will never stop pasting. They will never stop. In fact, I just feel that they don't know when to stop. They will be on that phone, even at night. Instead of sleeping, they're there clicking. They're there chatting. They're there posting. They're there watching instead of sleeping. So lack of sleep can affect them terribly. Can affect them terribly. Now, what about poor self-worth? Because of social media postings, pictures, photos, some of our children feel that, they are not part of this world because of what they see on social media that they cannot do or they don't have. It becomes a problem for them. So this self-worth, because they want to be like people they look up to, like some of these celebrities. They want to look like some of these celebrities. They want to feel attractive, to look attractive. And they try to mimic their behaviors. They try to do what they do. And if they are unable to do all that, they lose that self-worth. They'll feel so, belittled because they are unable to be like those people they look up to. So it can be horrible. It can be horrible. They lose their self-worth because of what they see on social media, because they feel they're unable to fit in. Sometimes when you see a child sitting on his or her own, try to understand what that child is doing. Try to understand why the child is feeling unhappy. It might have nothing to do with you, but everything to do with social media. It can be that bad. It can be that bad. Now, lack of focus. They don't focus on anything again apart from everything on social media. They don't focus on things they should focus on, things that will help them academically, that will help them socially, that will help them to face the realities of life. Instead of doing that, they focus more on those unrealistic things they see on social media. When they do that, it simply means they lack focus. So it can be horrible. This is one of the implications of social media addiction among teenagers. A decline in activity. They lose interest in their hobbies. Maybe they're very good at playing volleyball, basketball, football, playing Ludo, playing this outdoor game. They lose interest. In fact, I have come to wonder what happens to these outdoor games. What is it now about these outdoor games that some of these children do not engage in them? Social media has happened. And now if you don't use them, what happens to them? Gradually, you won't see them anywhere to buy. We have Scrabble, we have Ludo, we have Snake and Ladder, a lot of games that will enhance their cognitive functioning. Now they don't even go into all. How many times have you seen any child playing Ludo, playing Scrabble, how many times have you seen that? You hardly see that nowadays. All you see is a child clicking, pasting, posting, chatting on social media. It is that bad. They depend solely on internet. They spend every allowance they have on internet. Data now is very expensive. You put there, before you know it, it's gone. On what? On posting, on chatting, on pasting, on clicking, not even reading. Not even reading. The novels we have in the market, very soon nobody will buy them. Very soon nobody will buy them. And those ones will go out of market. So you see, everything now is on internet. And it shouldn't be that way. That internet dependence shouldn't be there. What about suicide, self-harm? I watch Discovery channels, and there's this episode, there's this edition there about social media. I think they call it web. I can't remember the full, the full name of that edition. Now, when you watch this program, you will now know that social media can be evil, honestly. I'm using evil. Despite the benefits, despite the usefulness, when you watch that program, you will really get the depth of social media, of negative effect of social media. You understand it fully. You have children committing suicide on social media because of social media, because of cyberbullying. Cyberbullying. That is one thing I didn't mention. That's the downside of social media. And the implication could be suicide. Committing suicide. Because, like I said, our children are so susceptible, they're so vulnerable that, wow, these children might not be able to handle, some of them are not able to handle their emotions. They cannot. An adult sometimes cannot even handle his or her emotion, not to talk of these youngsters. So it can lead to death. It can lead to self-harm. It can make a child to commit suicide. Because every time you're on social media, there will be something that might upset you. There will be something that might increase that anxiety, that will make you feel stressed. And if you're unable to handle it, you see yourself committing suicide. So it can be that bad. It can be that bad. Now that takes me now to the role of parents. What can parents do? Very interesting. What can parents do? You have to create that awareness. They need to understand that social media has its downsides. Despite the usefulness, the benefits, they need to understand that social media has its downsides. Talk with your child about social media. Open communication, very important at an early age. Let the child understand that, oh, as long as the child knows what social media is, let the child understand the positives, the negatives, the implications before you give that child an Android phone. The child needs to know what it's all about. It's not a matter of giving your child phone. Oh, sometimes you hear parents say, I want to know where my child is at. Oh, fine, beautiful. But if you give your child an Android phone, that child will have access to social media. So you need to let the child know. Children do listen. They do listen to what we say to them. They do more of what we do than what we say. So that takes me to modeling good behaviors before them. You need to model all you say about social media. That is by reducing your screen time. If they see you doing other things and they hear you talk about it, it's okay, mommy does it, daddy does it, let me try. But if they see you always on your phone and you tell them, you have to reduce, you have to cut down the way you use your phone, the way you go on this social media, inside of them they'll say, and maybe they won't be able to tell you, they'll say, okay, I should, but mommy, you're always on social media, daddy, you're always there. You need to model what you want them to do. It's not just by saying it fine, but back it up with actions. Back it up with actions. If you're with them, you can even chat them or talk. Tell them, put down your phone, let's talk. Some of them might be hidden, so you won't understand what that child is doing there. So you should have that talk with your children from an early age. You should model what you tell them to do. It will help. It will help to frame their minds. So that takes me now to helping your child to understand that good value, to have that value. Let your child figure out why they should not be on social media at all times. Help your child to make the right choices. Help frame their values. Let them understand that good value of making the right choice. Help frame their values. And making the right choice is by reducing social media appearance, reducing screen time. It might sound so simple or unimportant, but I'm telling you that it's very, very important that they should make the right choice concerning social media. It's up to you to help frame their values. Help them to understand how much misinformation, how much disinformation that is out there. They need to know all this. So help them to make that right choice so that it won't destroy them. Let them not grow on social media. Don't allow social media, everything about social media, to frame their values. You need to help them do that. You need to help them do that. And once again, restrict phone use. Restrict phone use. Taking your child's phone away at night can help that child to sleep, can help that child to be normal. I'm telling you, can help that child to be okay, a little bit okay. During the day, the child is on social media. At night, the child, take away that phone from that child before bedtime. Take it away. Explain whatever you do, please do not be aggressive about it. You need to let them know why you do what you do, why you're doing what you are doing. They need to understand they are human. Yes, they're your children, but you need to work hand in hand with them. Let them understand what you are doing. Let them know, okay, I do that to my own child. I take away his phone. And I want you to sleep. Sometimes I even ask him, let me have your phone. Unknown to him, I'll just go through his chats. That is monitoring what your child does online. You can't just take your child's phone that way without telling him or her, see, that child might refuse to give you that phone and it will resort to something you don't like. Let the child know that, okay, you can do that. Yes, I know that children can be very deceptive sometimes. They can do a whole lot on social media that you might not even know that there are certain accounts they have. You might not know there are things they do there. You might not know of other things they do there, but it will help to cut down a lot of things. They will get tired if they know that you will monitor what they do online. It's worse when they know that you do not care. If they know it has that psychology around them, it will help them to cut down on some things that are not right. Make sure you're using all those social media controls. I personally do not know some of these controls, but I know I've done my research and I've got to understand that there are certain restrictions. There are certain controls that you can use on social media to control what they do online. I know of a parent that cloned his son's phone. The son knew about it and it didn't bother him. Anyway, he had no say in that, but it didn't kill him. Then the boy was in SS2. The man cloned it. Whatever the boy receives, he will receive it. You should do this with the knowledge of your child. It will help to control all this. But I learned that there are certain social media controls that you can use, so you can talk to a tech wizard that will pull you through, that will take you through all the restrictions, all the controls you need to control, to handle to restrict what your child does online. Do it in any way you think will help you and your child. But whatever you're doing, you need to be very, very careful, and you need to let them know. Work hand in hand with your child. This child can push back when you try to impose that authority, especially when it comes to social media. They can be very stubborn, but you are in control. You should be in control. Do not allow what your child does overwhelm you. So you need to control whatever it is that you need to control in order to handle your child appropriately. Because if you lose that control, you will lose your child. And no excuse you will give on this earth that will help, that people will listen to. Your child is your child. So you need to do all it takes to handle that child in an appropriate way. And that is helping him or her to handle his social media intricacies. So these are the ways, these are roles that you can play. These are the things that you can do to help your child control his or her social media appearances and screen time. Another thing you should also do is to talk about personal information. Let them know that it is so wrong to say everything about yourself on social media, because you cannot control people who look at your profile, who read what you put out there. So do not tell them not to divulge personal information about themselves. On Facebook, on TikTok, on Instagram, on Snapchat, anywhere they find themselves, they should be careful of what they tell people. One, they should understand that not all they see, everything they see is not real. Sometimes they are not real. People put out whatever they want to put out there to control, to sell their product or to sell whatever they have online. So they shouldn't believe all that they see. And secondly, they shouldn't put out everything about themselves, because doing that we can cause a lot of havoc. So you need to talk about that. Let them understand that social media, things on internet can be restored. So they might think, oh, let me do this and delete. They can be restored. So they shouldn't share too much personal information. They shouldn't share personal information online, because anybody can have access to it. All right, so I am concluding right now. I want to put it out there that your number one responsibility as a parent is to groom these children into responsible adults. When it comes to things like this, you shouldn't sweep them under the rug. You shouldn't overlook them. Don't say you don't have enough time. You have the time. No matter how busy you think you are, you should think of a way to handle your children. If you don't, why did you bring them out into this world? So it's a sole responsibility to cater for your child. It's not the teacher's responsibility. You are the parent. You are your child's first teacher. So teach them all that they should learn. Social media should be taken care of by you. Talk to them, help them, guide them, pilot their affairs, lead them. They need that. No matter how smart they think they are, they need your guidance. All right, so thank you. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you listened, and I hope you got something substantial. Oh, so see you next time. See you next time. Bye.
Hello, doctor. Thank you for this awesome session. Can you hear me? Me,
I can
doctor?
hear you. I can hear you.
Your camera is off and we cannot see you.
Okay,
Can
okay.
I?
All right, I'm here. I'm here. I can't hear you again, and I'm sure you're talking. Hello. 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 Hello.
Can anyone hear me now? The
I can
network
hear.
booted me out.
I can hear
Okay,
you.
great. Okay, great. So we have some questions, and I would want
Okay.
you to attend to a few before you run.
All right.
Can you see the screen? I'm trying to put it up on the screen.
I'm seeing the screen, but no word on the screen yet.
No, not the question. Not the question. Okay. Okay, maybe I will read a few of them.
Okay. All right.
I'm trying to, I don't know why this. Doctor, a lot of people are raving you and thanking you for that awesome session.
Really, but I can't.
Thank you so much, ma.
Okay. Thank you
Yes, a
too.
lot of people are raving you.
Okay.
And the first question, okay, the first question here says, please ma, should I start teaching myself 7-year-old about internet safety and etiquette now? If no, at what age is appropriate? 7-year-old.
Okay. When it comes to allowing your child to use Android phone, allowing your child to have access to social media, when it comes to that, it depends on the parent. But when you talk about talking to your child, your 7-year-old, about social media, you need to be very careful. 7 years might not be able to grasp the negatives of social media. And that can make that child to be very, very curious in such a way that the child will now want to know more. And that could make that child will now want to know more. And it might not be good for a 7-year-old child. Personally, I feel that 7 years is not an ideal age for you to talk about social media. Yes, you can say it peripherally, but going deep into it might be a problem for that child. If you need to give your child, a 7-year-old child, phone, let it be any of these phones without access to any of these social media network. Let it just be to answer phone, to receive call, to answer the call. It mustn't go along with any of those social media networking platforms. And there are ways you don't need to download them on his or her phone. For now, let the child think about other things and not really going deep into social media for now. You can maybe lightly talk about it, but be careful of the things you say so that the child will not misunderstand you. That is it. So that the child would not misunderstand you. And when you talk about age, I feel that it has to do with the perception of that child. It has to do with the understanding of that child. If your child is 13 and still doesn't get it, hold on. Still talk about it with that child. Then when you are able to say, okay, this child can handle that, then you can go along giving that child that phone. But if you ask me, honestly, like you just asked me, I would say wait till the child is 16. But in most cases, it's not possible. In most cases, it's not possible. Because you give your child phones for safety reasons. And most times, these phones are Android phones. So have that open communication with that child. A child that is 12, 13, you can talk deeply about social media to that child. But 7, I believe that the child is still young. You don't need to give that child that kind of phone. You can talk about it, but peripherally, lightly, till you're able to know when it's quite right to go deep to talk about social media. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, ma. The next question, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, very well.
The next question says, parents themselves are addicted to their phones. What are the possible things parents and adults can do to help their children, to help them out of addictions to their own phones?
Now, this is another topic on its own. This is a full topic
Honestly, it
It
is.
is another topic, really, because I
It is.
even mentioned it here. You need to model what you want your child to do. Children
Hmm.
do more of what they see you do than what you tell them to do. You need to model whatever it is you want them to. That's the fastest track to
Mhm.
getting a good behavior from your child. You can't tell your child, cut down on social media, and you're always on social media. In fact, you use the word addicted. You are addicted to social media, and you're trying to control your child's addiction to social media. So you need to help yourself. Cut down your screen time. I'm sure there are other things you can do without going on to, except if you need it to work. But if it's going on to Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, for what now? Don't you have other things you can indulge in? If you want your child to read, get a novel, sit down and read. Tell your child, see, I'm reading a book. I want you to do the same. Honestly, that child would do that thing. It's not you're with your phone. Come, Emeka, keep that phone. I'm sure your child will one day ask you, Daddy, you're always on your phone. In fact, they will even start looking out for when to catch you on your phone at all times. And they'll say that you're always on your phone. You tell me to put down my phone. It cannot work. So cut down your screen time. Put off those notifications that could confuse you, that could distract you. Like I said, except you're using it to work, then fine. But if it's just to have access to Facebook, to what is happening on Facebook, to TikTok, to Instagram, then it's wrong. It's wrong. You need to control yourself. You need to cut down your social media appearances. You need to cut down what you do on social media in order to help your child. You need to do it, or else it's just like pouring water on a stone. So cut down your social media appearance, cut down the screen time, remove all those notifications that could distract you, and indulge on any offline activity that could help you and also teach your child something. I hope I was able to go through, I hope I was able to get the answer to this question or to satisfy you. Hello?
Thank you so much. Thank
Okay.
you so much, Ma. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, people are already affirming to what you're saying. Lead by example and all that and all that.
Yes.
Everybody is raving you in the comments, and a lot of parents are seeing from their comments that they are actually the problem and not the children.
The children, exactly.
Yes, yes, so very much. I think the last question before we leave you to run is a parent said, when, when your spouse is not agreeing to do what you are trying to instill in your children about the media, what do you do, and how can you help your spouse rather, to understand?
Okay. You know, when it comes to training these children, when it comes to grooming your child, you cannot do it alone, except you're a single parent. You have to work hand in hand with your spouse. Now, I'm bringing in open communication here. You need to work on you and your spouse before you go on to your children. When your children, or if your children notice
Should I
that
start?
there's communication gap between you and your spouse, they will take advantage of it and deal with both of you in any way they can. It can even be in a very little way. because these children are so observant. They watch what you do. They watch everything you do. So if they notice that there is that communication gap, there is that grooming gap between you and your spouse, they will capitalize on it and do whatever they want. So firstly, have that open communication with your husband. Have that dialogue, or with your husband or wife. Have that dialogue with your spouse. Talk about it. Agree. Agree. Agree on how to handle your children. When it comes to your children, there must be that balance. There must be that agreement, or else it won't work out well. So have that communication, very important, with your spouse. Let your spouse see your own view, understand you from your own perspective. And you have to bring in all you need to make your spouse listen. Not when you talk, you shout. Not when you talk, you nag. Not when you talk, you do it disrespectfully, or you try to impose that authority on your spouse. Remember that both of you come from different backgrounds, with different orientations, with different ideas of training, of grooming, of rearing, of everything. Because you're married doesn't mean that you will become the same automatically. Gradually, you will get to that level. So try to have that understanding. Understand your different perspectives. When you have that balance, that compromise, it will now help you to handle your children appropriately. If you're unable to do that, it will continue to be a problem. So please have that conversation, dialogue, have that open communication with your spouse, respectfully, with tolerance, and I'm sure it will work out well. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. In fact, as I'm saying wow, I now start seeing comments. Everybody's putting, wow, God help us. Wow, God bless you, ma. Wow, everyone. Thanks a lot, ma. You did awesomely well. Wow, people are raving you in the comments. I can't even read. Start reading them. You did justice to this. This was so insightful. People are just raving you everywhere. We are grateful. It's such an honor to have you.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, really, to be here.
Nigeria has happened to me. Great, great. Thank you so much.
All
We
right.
are honored to have you, and we will have you again and again. And we hope that you answer us. God
Yeah.
bless you. Thank you very much, and do enjoy the rest of the evening.
All right. Thank you too. Thank you. Bye to everyone.
Okay, guys, this brings the day to an end. God bless you for being in this session. We will continue tomorrow, and every details will be shared across our platforms. Please share with others and invite others to join you anytime you're coming in for another session. We will see you again tomorrow by the grace of God. Have a good night rest, everybody. Bye.